Though opinions of Roger Moore's performance as James Bond may differ, his charm and humor unquestionably put him at the top of many lists of the greatest, both in real life and on screen. He could make an impression on almost everybody. His autobiography, My World is My Bond, offers readers a behind-the-scenes look at the man who created the enduring character. The actor discusses his drinking companions and co-stars, including Frank Sinatra and Bette Davis, among other glamorous ladies of Hollywood, in his delectably indiscreet memoirs. He even disclosed the identity of his least favorite co-star. Are you curious to learn more? See what recollections and friends he has by continuing to watch. But before starting this video, I have big and humble request you to subscribe my channel and help me to reach 1,000th milestone. Roger Moore was more than the characters he played on TV. He was a quick-witted and charming individual. His charisma not only won him a lot of admirers, but also helped him make enduring connections with well-known people like Frank Sinatra, Lana Turner, and Peter Sears. Roger explores these ties in his memoir, providing special moments that give readers a closer look at the guy behind the dapper on-screen image. He vividly captures the friendships and experiences that enriched both his personal and professional journeys through these narratives. Peter Sears. Roger had always thought of Peter as a lonely man who was always hiding behind a mask. The performer had a strange contempt for the people who watched him on screen, considering it to be among the most boring experiences there is. In light of this impression, Peter's involvement in an odd drug bust that opened a fascinating new chapter in his life story was truly unexpected. In 1970, Peter was traveling with his third wife. Miranda was enjoying their vacation to the fullest on the gorgeous French coast at Cap Ferrat. Interestingly, Roger was residing at the same hotel at the same time, filming The Persuaders. Their lives intersected in an odd way because the stars aligned. Unexpectedly, Johnny Gold, the creator of the renowned nightclub in London, accompanied Roger's friend Leslie Bruss on a visit to the bay. While chatting with the Customs Patrol boat, they planned a lighthearted practical joke on Leslie, telling the officials to stop his boat because it was moving too fast. The officials laughed heartily and gave the embarrassed Leslie a bottle of scotch and some cigarettes. With a cunning sense of humor, Johnny Gold disclosed the real reason for the visit. He waved a white envelope loaded to the brim with a sinister white powder that was addressed to Peter. The enigmatic gift came with a message identifying it as a honeymoon present. Later that evening, Peter welcomed them to his room, maybe out of curiosity or a taste for the unusual. Peter was clearly in a heightened state when he welcomed them to his room that evening. Cleverly claiming that his bed had become a flying carpet, he asked them nonchalantly if they would like to fly about the room with him. Roger said that Frank Sinatra was never one to refute accusations regarding his purported ties to the mafia. The first clear recollection Roger has of the great crooner is of a fierce fight that erupted at a party held at the renowned Moulin Rouge in Hollywood, involving none other than John Wayne. A notable figure in this strange meeting was Jack Warner, the powerful head of Warner Bros. At the time. The famous singer Gordon MacRae was up for bid, and the Moulin Rouge was electric with anticipation. Always the showman, Jack Warner paid MacRae $11,000 to perform on stage and show off his voice abilities. Things took an unexpected turn, and the showdown started. If you are enjoying this video, please hit the subscribe button. John Wayne made a counterbid of $2,000, as if to stop MacRae from charming the crowd. The plot surprise was that Frank Sinatra was a close personal friend of Gordon MacRae. John Wayne found himself in a difficult situation after learning of the sinner's connections, feeling not only outbid but also humiliated. Roger was sitting down with Frank Sinatra again in a central London restaurant a good 10 years after their first encounter. Ever the straight shooter, Roger made the decision to address the mysterious old blue eyes about the ongoing accusations about his involvement in the mafia. To Roger's amazement, Sinatra did not duck the subject but rather addressed the claims head-on, declaring that a good number of the places where he played were in fact controlled and influenced by the underworld. Lana Turner. One of the most unforgettable scenes in Roger's tapestry of Hollywood anecdotes is when the late Lana Turner shares her special knowledge of kissing technique with the cast of Diane. Roger said Lana used a method she called passion without pressure. Roger, who had already been married multiple times and had no issues in that area, was first dubious about the need for such direction. But as the scenes developed on location, it became clear that Lana's approach gave the movie an additional dimension of realism and charm. Lana Turner left a mark on Roger's memory for a very different reason, one that emphasized her fiery spirit beyond her wisdom on film. Tensions on the set erupted one day following a small argument with producer Edward Koff. In a dramatic change of events, Lana stormed off the stage after hurling a torrent of expletives at the producer. Roger was deeply affected by the experience and later sought clarification over the sudden departure. Roger learned that Lana was, in a sense, making amends with the film industry. She described her outburst as a sort of revenge for all the unfair things she felt the industry had done to her over the years. These stories from Roger's interactions with Lana Turner provide insight into the complex world of Hollywood, where real-life drama frequently rivals that which is depicted on television. Feuds. Roger Moore recalls the famous feud between Bette Davis and Joan Crawford, a well-known part of Hollywood history. It became a personal story for Roger in the 1960s. He got to know about the legendary rivalry in a surprisingly friendly encounter with Bette Davis. It all started when Bette came up to Roger's table one day, introducing herself warmly. Despite being a Hollywood star who didn't need an introduction, she praised Roger's TV show, The Saint, expressing her admiration. She even shared that both she and her daughter were big fans. This unexpected meeting led to an unlikely friendship between the two stars. Building on this newfound camaraderie, Roger invited Bette to join him at the dog races. The day was filled with laughter and shared enjoyment. However, beneath the surface, Roger began to see hints of the diva side of Bette Davis. As their friendship deepened, so did Roger's understanding of the long-standing feud between Bette and Joan. Roger discovered that the root cause of their animosity was Joan Crawford's second husband, Frano Tone. Frano was more than just a passing figure in Bette's life. He was her true love. The bitterness ran so deep that Bette held grudges, even for the care she provided when Frano was battling cancer, a time when conflicts usually get set aside. Surprisingly, the feud between Bette Davis and Joan Crawford continued beyond Frano's death, leaving a lasting impact on Hollywood history. In the diverse experiences of Roger Moore in Hollywood, another interesting character was Rex Harrison. A man known for being moody and unkind, Rex Harrison had a tough reputation. Despite this, Roger noticed a softer side to the actor, especially in how he cared for Kay Kendall, Rex's third wife and a close friend of Roger. Rex's usual tough demeanor changed when he supported Kay through a difficult time, showing a kinder side. This unexpected kindness from Rex made a lasting impression on Roger, revealing that people in Hollywood are more complex than they seem. However, Rex Harrison's challenges with people went beyond his relationship with Kay Kendall. Even the beloved Julie Andrews had a hard time working with him. Roger recalls a moment during their performance of the love song, "I've Grown Accustomed to Her Face," when Rex and Julie couldn't get along. Roger had to be on the side of the stage to help them through it. Rex coped by imagining he was singing to Kay Kendall, using that emotional connection to overcome the difficulties. Rex also faced conflicts with Audrey Hepburn during the making of the 1964 film My Fair Lady, where she played Eliza Doolittle. Despite these professional struggles, Rex surprised everyone when he won an Oscar for the film. In a gracious move, he dedicated the award to both Julie Andrews and Audrey Hepburn, recognizing their contributions to the movie's success. Sammy Davis Jr., the famous entertainer, had a deep love for movies, making him a familiar face at film studios even when he wasn't working. Roger Moore fondly remembered when Sammy visited the set of Maverick while Roger was filming. It turned out that Sammy was skilled at pistol drawing and gun twirling, showing off talents beyond singing and acting. In the lively 80s, Sammy made a dramatic entrance at a dinner party hosted by Leslie Brosi in Los Angeles. He casually took out his revolver, treating it as casually as handing over a hat. This showcased Sammy's unique mix of charisma and humor in everyday situations. Sammy Davis Jr. was known for turning life's challenges into funny stories. Once, when he overheard someone complaining about discrimination, he joked about his own diverse identity, saying, "You got it easy. I'm a short, ugly, one-eyed black Jew. What do you think it's like for me?" His ability to find humor in tough times highlighted his resilience and wit. Years later, while hosting the Oscars, Sammy again showed his talent for blending profound moments with comedy. He said, "Tonight, the Academy honors both my peoples with Fiddler on the Roof and Shaft." In a touching recollection, Roger Moore talked about the last time he saw Sammy, a month before his passing. Despite Sammy's usual small and slender stature, he seemed frail in his final days, battling spreading throat cancer. Faced with a tough decision for the best chance of survival, Sammy chose to keep his voice, bravely confronting the illness rather than sacrificing a part of himself. Tony Curtis, a charismatic co-star in The Persuaders, left a lasting impression on Roger Moore, not just for his on-screen talent, but for his unique approach to life. Curtis, however, was known for being very careful with his money, a trait that Roger humorously shared in a story. One Christmas, Curtis invited Roger and his wife to join him and his third wife, Leslie, for dinner. The festive gathering took an unexpected turn when Curtis proudly presented an unusually small roast chicken. Though the meal may have been modest, it showcased Curtis's frugal approach to his finances. In a spirit of friendship, Curtis shared some unconventional advice with Roger, referring to an anecdote involving Burt Lancaster. According to Curtis, Lancaster had once suggested that if caught in a compromising situation with a young lady in the dressing room, the best strategy was to continue and, upon returning home, deny any wrongdoing, saying, "But they have people who look like me." Roger found himself pondering Curtis's words a year or so later while filming in South Africa, in a scene with an attractive young lady that unexpectedly took a suggestive turn, with her expressing a desire for privacy due to the crew's presence. Roger, feigning innocence, asked why. She coyly responded, "Because I could show you a really good time." Although the situation echoed Tony Curtis's earlier advice, Roger remained committed to his Italian wife, especially since she was downstairs and aware that Roger's stunt double was not working that day. Grace Jones. In the lively behind-the-scenes story of A View to a Kill, Roger Moore found himself in a unique dynamic with Grace Jones, the actress playing the formidable May Day, the villain's henchwoman. Grace's eccentric behavior became a notable chapter in Roger's Hollywood anecdotes. Grace Jones, known for her bold style and fearlessness, had an unusual habit during the filming of A View to a Kill. She would blast music from her trailer at such a high volume that it made the walls shake. Despite Roger's polite requests to lower the volume, Grace remained defiant. As the stress of filming increased for Roger, the constant noise became an additional source of frustration, especially when it disrupted his much-needed rest. Eventually, the stress reached a breaking point for Roger. In a bold move, he entered Grace's trailer and, in sheer exasperation, unplugged the music source. Tensions rose even further when, in frustration, he threw a chair, leaving a lasting dent that, according to Roger, is still there. Surprisingly, the tumultuous atmosphere took an unexpected turn when they were scheduled to film a love scene together. In an effort to diffuse tension, Grace surprised Roger by introducing a large black sex toy into the scene. This unconventional move became the catalyst for breaking the ice and relieving the lingering tension between them. Laughter ensued, and the two actors shared a moment of comic relief, bridging the gap that had developed during the challenging filming experience. Hervey Villechaize, one of his least favorite co-stars. In the months before his passing, Roger Moore openly shared his candid thoughts during an appearance at London's South Bank Centre. The focus of his remarks was the 1974 Bond film, The Man with the Golden Gun, specifically his commentary on Hervey Villechaize, who played Nick Nack in the movie. Roger didn't hold back as he revealed information about Hervey Villechaize's alleged sexual behavior, boldly labeling him a sex maniac in front of the public. According to Roger, Hervey's actions included inappropriate touching even after being explicitly told to stop. The revelations took a more sensational turn when Roger claimed that Hervey Villechaize would go to Hong Kong, visiting clubs with a flashlight, ostensibly searching for female companions. Memories of a sexually charged conversation between Roger and Hervey added another layer of intrigue. Roger recalled asking Hervey about the number of women he had been involved with during the filming, to which Hervey allegedly replied with the figure 35. Roger, in his typical wit, dismissed the count, suggesting that encounters involving payment did not qualify. Hervey, in response, claimed that even when he paid, some women refused his advances. Whether these accounts about Hervey Villechaize's personal life were accurate or exaggerated remains uncertain, but they undoubtedly cast a shadow over his career. Although Hervey found fame as Tattoo in Fantasy Island in 1978, his dismissal in 1984 was marred by pay disputes and allegations of unwarranted advances toward female cast members and crew. Tragically, Hervey Villechaize's life ended on a somber note on September 4, 1993, when he took his own life with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. His suicide note expressing that no one is to blame for this seemed to convey a sense of forgiveness, perhaps even directed at Roger. However, whether Roger reciprocated that forgiveness remains a lingering question. Being James Bond, Roger Moore's journey to fame was indelibly marked by his portrayal of the iconic James Bond. His first venture into the role occurred in the 1973 film Live and Let Die, setting the stage for a remarkable tenure as the suave British spy. Over 7 films spanning 12 years, Roger brought a distinctive debonair flair and sharp wit to the character, endearing himself to audiences worldwide. In the realm of espionage and intrigue, Roger Moore's interpretation of Bond was characterized by a unique blend of confidence and charm. His suave demeanor and quick-witted delivery became hallmarks of his portrayal, earning him widespread acclaim. However, even in the midst of his confident portrayal, sharp-eyed audiences occasionally noticed moments when Roger seemed visibly uncomfortable handling guns. In his memoir, Roger Moore shared a poignant anecdote about his early encounter with guns that had a lasting impact on his relationship with firearms. As a teenager, he found himself on the receiving end of a BB gun, taking a shot to the leg. While the incident didn't result in injury, it instilled in him a lifelong disdain for firearms. Despite this aversion, Roger stepped into the iconic role of James Bond, a character synonymous with the use of weapons. In an interview, he expressed regret over the portrayal of heroes wielding guns, emphasizing his discomfort with what they symbolized. Nevertheless, Bond's character demanded an arsenal, and since the inaugural film Dr. No in 1962, Bond has been associated with firearms. During Roger Moore's tenure as Bond, his character favored a Walther PPK, but also wielded a .44 Magnum and various assault rifles. The discomfort he felt with firearms was palpable on screen, as he tended to blink while shooting, subtly reflecting his unease. In a revealing commentary for the 1985 film A View to a Kill, Roger disclosed a traumatic event that exacerbated his discomfort with guns. Volunteering for a refresher course in the Army, he unknowingly received a gun with a blocked mechanism. When he pulled the trigger, it exploded in his hand, causing temporary deafness and necessitating a delay in filming until his hearing returned. This incident left a significant mental scar, further deepening his aversion to firearms. Despite portraying the iconic secret agent, Roger openly admitted that A View to a Kill was his least favorite film in the Bond franchise. He particularly disliked the violence depicted in the movie, singling out a scene involving the villain Max Zorin firing a Uzi submachine gun indiscriminately into a large group of people. This departure from the tone of previous films, especially his favorite, The Spy Who Loved Me, disappointed both Roger and fans alike. The scene Roger Moore hated most remains a pivotal figure in the legacy of James Bond. Regarded by some as the quintessential Bond, he was not without his share of critics who considered him the least favorable interpretation of the iconic spy. Moore's tenure as 007 unfolded during a period of cinematic evolution, marked by the escalating commercial frenzy that elevated action heroes into marketable figures capable of executing death-defying feats while delivering quippy one-liners. The spectrum of Moore's Bond films reflects the dichotomy of his portrayal. Works like The Spy Who Loved Me in 1977 were celebrated for their thrilling action sequences, seamlessly blending adventure and espionage. However, not every installment hit the mark, with some veering into the realm of ludicrousness and cheesiness, challenging audience sensibilities. Spanning 12 years, Moore's initial enthusiasm in films like Live and Let Die in 1973 gradually waned. By 1985's A View to a Kill, the actor openly acknowledged feeling past his prime, expressing discomfort with the womanizing aspects of the character as he aged. Moore, in his characteristic candor, admitted unease during intimate scenes with actresses half his age. Beyond personal discomfort, Moore had reservations about the level of violence in A View to a Kill, directed by John Glenn. One scene, in particular, drew his criticism, wherein Christopher Walken's character, Max, guns down his own henchman in a fit of rage. Moore, in his memoir, My Word is My Bond, vehemently declared Roger Moore, reflecting his commitment to a certain ethos within the franchise. Despite his reservations about his final Bond movie, Roger Moore's legacy is indelibly intertwined with the franchise's history. His contribution includes a notable record set during the making of The Man with the Golden Gun in 1974, where a car executed a remarkable flip through the air, an emblematic moment in the larger-than-life world of James Bond. Loving the recognition, Roger Moore may have harbored disdain for what James Bond symbolized, but he openly acknowledged that being recognized as the iconic spy had its perks. Reveling in the streets when addressed as Mr. Bond, he found joy in the association. More surprisingly, he didn't mind the extravagant wardrobe that came with the spy persona. In a sentimental gesture, he held on to some of the suits, even if they no longer quite fit him in later years. Despite any reservations, Moore expressed no regret in taking on the role. Rather, his lamentations centered on the violence perpetuated by his character throughout the Bond saga. As we reflect on the cinematic journey of Sir Roger Moore as James Bond, it's undeniable that he left an indelible mark on the iconic character. Whether you view him as the quintessential 007 or not, his impact is undeniable. Comment down below to let us know your favorite Bond film. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more captivating content. Stay tuned for more insights into the world of cinema and beyond. Feuds. Roger Moore reminisces about the famous feud between Bette Davis and Joan Crawford, a well-known part of Hollywood history that became personal for Roger in the 1960s. He learned about the legendary rivalry in a surprisingly friendly encounter with Bette Davis. The story began when Bette approached Roger's table, introducing herself warmly. Despite being a Hollywood star who needed no introduction, she praised Roger's TV show The Saint, expressing her admiration. She even shared that both she and her daughter were big fans. This unexpected meeting led to an unlikely friendship between the two stars. Building on this newfound camaraderie, Roger invited Bette to join him at the dog races, resulting in a day filled with laughter and shared enjoyment. However, beneath the surface, Roger began to see hints of the diva side of Bette Davis. As their friendship deepened, so did Roger's understanding of the long-standing feud between Bette and Joan. Roger discovered that the root cause of their animosity was Joan Crawford's second husband, Franchot Tone. Franchot was more than just a passing figure in Bette's life. He was her true love. The bitterness ran so deep that Bette held grudges, even for the care she provided when Franchot was battling cancer, a time when conflicts usually get set aside. Surprisingly, the feud between Bette Davis and Joan Crawford continued beyond Franchot's death, leaving a lasting impact on Hollywood history. In the diverse experiences of Roger Moore in Hollywood, another interesting character was Rex Harrison.